Today we're joined by our finance manager, Phiri Leballo, to discuss importance of managing our finances and strategies to follow to avoid being a cycle of debts. Thank you for joining us today, Phiri. Let's jump straight into it. Why do so many people find themselves broke just days after getting paid?
So most people, they find themselves in that situation because they have a lot of commitment, I would say financial commitment. You find people, they have a lot of credit cards, they have revolving debt, and then they have credit with stores. So without a clear budget or clear spending limit, we have this cycle where you earn and then you pay your debt and then you borrow again. So that's what takes the chunk of their money.
What you have just said, Phiri, it highlights how easily one can lose their income to debt or poor spending habits when they don't have the necessary financial discipline. What do you think people typically get wrong about budgeting and living within their means?
Most people, they think budget is very restrictive, but actually it's not. It's empowering. Because if you have budget, you will know how much you have to spend, and then you will align your expenses in such so you don't have to go overboard by overspending. Another misconception people have is like having access to credit, and they don't realize yes, credit doesn't mean you actually have cash because you have to pay it with interest later.
Oh wow, Phiri, what you just said is very insightful because in most cases, we don't realize that credit cards is not our money. We still need to pay it back and with interest. Now tell me, Phiri, living on credit has disadvantages and can negatively impact your credit score if not managed or repaid responsibly. Can you explain the financial traps that lead to this monthly struggle?
One big trap is the lifestyle inflation, where, let's say in this case, your salary increase, you also adjust your lifestyle where you increase your way of spending. You plan to spend much money than you were spending before. And then the other trap that people normally have is the buy now, pay later, which most people, they fall on that. At the end of the day, you have to pay the debt. So most people, they don't have emergency savings. So when the unexpected expense occur, you find out you don't have any other plans but to take that, which is going to increase your money troubles.
In order to break free from financial traps, there are certain steps that need to be taken. So how can someone break out of this cycle? What advice would you give them to take the first steps?
Well, the first part is to track your monthly spending. You can do that by do a workbook on Excel, and then you list all your expenses, and then you also put your income down there so you can be able to track how much you are spending and if you are within your budget or you are exceeding your monthly income. The other way to do that is to have that 50-30-20 rule, which clearly states that you spend 50% of your salary on your needs, and then you spend the 30% of your salary on your wants, and then the other 20% should go to savings, or you should spend it to pay your debt.
At times, one may feel like they're failing, even when they have strategies in place. Are there any small, practical strategies that can help someone become financially mindful?
Okay, I would recommend setting up financial goals so that you can be debt free. And then the other way is to monitor how you are spending money. For example, you should have a limit for groceries, you should have a limit for entertainment, you should structure your salary in such a way you don't overspend. You're planning to buy a car or you're planning to build a house, you must structure your salary in such a way you don't overspend on those things. Or you have to save every month until to a certain time where you have the minimum required deposit.
That is true, Phiri. One needs to be mindful of their spending and financial goals that they have set for themselves. Lastly, what advice would you give to someone who feels like their financial situation is already out of control?
Well, if you feel like your financial situation is out of control, the first thing I would advise you is you have to acknowledge you have financial problems, and then after that you can seek help from financial advisors. There are also online tools that can help you to do budgeting properly. Remember, you didn't get into financial problems overnight, so you can turn around this. You just need to give yourself time and then everything will fall.
Thank you for joining us today, Phiri, and for sharing financial knowledge and strategies one needs to follow to avoid living in debt. We believe one of our listeners will take your strategies and apply them in their daily lives. If you would like to get covered by Workerslife Insurance, please do not hesitate to visit www.workerslife.co.za. Click on the option of Build My Cover and build your cover tailor-made just for you. And if you would like to speak to our specialized consultants, don't hesitate. Please call us on 0861 520 520. Workers Life, protecting your future.